In a mini video game special, we take a look at two huge video games that are coming out in the future. One in the not so distant future called Red Dead Redemption 2, and one kind of in the future soon called Cyberpunk. And we also take a look at the final Venom trailer, and I give you my thoughts on why the Venom movie is going to be terrible. I go by the name of Johnny Massacre, and you're witnessing the Johnny Massacre Show. Hello people, thank you for watching again. You might notice that I'm looking knackered and sounding knackered. Knackered is British speak for tired, in case you didn't know. Do Americans even know what knackered means? When Americans say the word knackered, it sounds kind of funny. They go, knackered, he's like so knackered. And I am knackered. And I will explain why later when I talk about my life. But first, no advertisements, we're going to talk about video games. This is a little video game special. No, fuck it. Let's save the video games. Let's talk about movies first, because that is imminent. The Venom movie is coming out tomorrow in Brazil, of all places. They have these very weird staggered release dates where some countries get the movies first, and I don't understand why. Brazil, why would you release it in Brazil first? What is the reason for that? Answers in the comments below, please. Today is September the 2nd, Sunday, so it's coming out in 2 days in Brazil, and it's coming out on the 5th in the States. It's coming out next month in November in Japan, where I live, because Japanese translators are retarded. The Chinese ones can translate the film in time, but the Japanese people are so obsessed with their English being perfect, they can't get it out on time. Just fucking get the movie out, you silly cunts. Jesus Christ, I want to watch that movie. I usually like to review these movies or do a live rant after watching them and hating them in the cinema. But I can't do that really with Venom, because by the time I do it, I'll have missed all the buzz. So, Japan, no. One of my commenters on YouTube, I'm actually going to find his name now, he's asked me twice for my reaction for the Venom trailer, and I purposefully ignored the recent one because I thought it looked pretty bad. The comment is called The Incredible Hulk. I think he's into the trailer, so he might get all weird that I hate it, but it doesn't matter because we got to be real, right? If I don't like it, I'm just going to tell you. So let's watch this final Venom trailer to hype you up a little bit for the incoming movie. A movie that Sony apparently has a lot riding on. Tom Hardy's just signed up for 3 more Venom films, which tells you all you need to know about Sony's plans for Venom. Apparently Eminem's done a fucking Venom song, and that makes sense because he's blatantly bipolar, and Venom is a hero for people with bipolar and mental illness. It's a metaphor for the darkness within taking over and losing control, which is what a lot of people suffering mental illness go through, I think. So that's pretty fucking interesting. I didn't know Eminem's done that. I would give a shit if Eminem hadn't come out as a pseudo-political genius and SJW knob with his Trump rap diss, which was the most cringeworthy thing ever, which just destroyed his career in one fell swoop. A guy who appeals to all the Trump voters, middle America, just like caning Trump and so on. What a fucking Eminem. I still forgive you, mate, because you've given me a lot of good moments, but still, he's made a song. So I'm losing my train of thought. Let's just get into the I want to tell you the budget for the film to show you how much is riding on it. The budget is apparently, it's not really shown on Wikipedia. That probably means that Sony haven't released the budget in a press release, which means they're a little bit nervous about how well it could do, because although he's one of the most popular villains among nerds, he's not really an iconic dudes like Spider-Man and Superman and all those knobs. So it's not readily available on the liberal hellhole that is Google. So we can just assume that the Venom budget is probably quite a lot because there's a lot of special effects. Anyways, enough rambling. Let us watch the last Venom trailer and I'm going to react to it.
I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I always seem to find myself questioning something the government may not be looking at. I found something really bad. And I have been... Eddie. Who said that? Taken.
Look around at the world. What do you see? A planet on the brink of collapse. Human beings are disposable. But man and symbiote combined. This is a new race, a new species. A higher life form.
What do you want from me?
You will find out.
I'm so sorry. We cannot just hurt people.
Look into my eyes, Eddie. The way I see it. We can do whatever we want. Do we have a deal? Eyes, lungs, pancreas. So many snacks, so little time.
That power, it's not completely awful.
You have no idea how much you're scaring me right now.
Eddie, cooperate. And you just might survive.
Guys, you do not want to do this, trust me.
Giant leaps will always come at a cost.
Faceless thing, won't you? Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
What the hell are you?
We are Venom.
Oh, I have a parasite. Yeah. Name is Chen.
I would bet my house that this movie is terrible. The CGI looks terrible. The script is fucking awful. The premise is so dumb. You have to have a believable premise. And the bad guy's saying basically that the symbiote is going to save humanity. And that is such a cliche where the villain, his schemes, his grand schemes to kill everyone is actually going to save the world. We've already seen that in Avengers 2 with Thanos. He's going to kill half the world to restore balance. It's his twisted way of doing good. That concept is a cliche, but at least make it kind of believable. How the fuck is a symbiote going to save the world? It's so ugly and horrible. At least Thanos in Avengers 2 was saying a bit of truth in that humanity's fucked up and kind of evil. And let's be honest, life is a balance between chaos and order, so half of the world is fucked, so why not destroy it in Thanos' twisted mind? Okay, but to say that horrible symbiote alien is going to save the world, there's no way you can explain that in a script. I'm sorry. So the whole premise is so stupid, and Tom Hardy's an amazing actor, and he looks stupid and out of place in that film with the lines that they've given him. I also know that the producers are desperately trying to pander to the nerdy comics audience, because when Venom is giving that weird little monologue at the end, where he's talking about shit rolling down the street or something. I think that's what he says. But whatever he's saying, it was really takes you out of the moment. It takes you out of the moment. It's trying to be funny and silly, and that just cheapens everything you've already seen, where Venom is supposed to be intimidating. You can't have an intimidating person who is pulling those kind of jokes. It's got to be done in the Joker kind of way, where the Joker is joking and charming but very intimidating. And Venom there, when he was talking like this, was not intimidating at all. So the balance is all wrong between humor and intimidation. That scene's put in for the nerds, and I know that because I saw some nerds in the comments saying, that's such a Venom thing to say. Oh, fucking hell. So you're going to appeal to the diehards by putting in some silly comic book dialogue, when really you should be making it gritty as fuck, because the coolest Venom comics from the 90s, illustrated by, I think, a guy called Todd McFarlane, who's my favourite comic book illustrator ever, Venom was very raw in those comics, the way he's depicted. And in this, he looks like a big slimy mess. I'm ranting now. This is getting very unstructured, but you can just see my thoughts on the film, how I feel about it already. I don't even know if I'm going to see this film because it's coming out later. I would see it if it's coming out on time in Japan, just to review it and hit horror a little bit for your enjoyment. But because it's coming out late, it looks like such a steaming pile of shite. And I'll tell you why this movie's also going to be shite. It's because it's produced by Amy Pascal. Now, Amy Pascal is the producer behind the female reboot of Ghostbusters. Need I say more? She also produced Spider-Man Homecoming, which did much better at the box office, but that was infested with SJW nonsense. There's a scene with the big needle, the Washington needle, whatever it's called, the Washington Monument, and one of the characters who's Hispanic doesn't want to go up the monument because she says, don't you know this was built by slaves, apparently? Fucking hell. So, okay, so someone did something fucking hundreds of years ago that you don't like, and you're not even going to go in there. Times have moved on. It's this weird liberal thing where they're always blaming, always making excuses, always whining, trying to rewrite history. Amy Pascal represents the worst of the liberal pathogen infection. And she's producing this fucking movie, so you know it's going to be a shit show. Fucking hell. I really want to be wrong, but I don't think I am. So that's the Venom movie trailer reaction from me, and the movie's coming out shortly. I feel depressed about it. So let's move on to more positive things. Video games. I like video games. Don't get to play them as much anymore, but now my YouTube show is giving me a good excuse. Rewind, select, come again. It's giving me a good excuse to get back in the saddle and play some more games. Red Dead Redemption is coming out on October 26th. This is possibly the biggest video game launch of all time, I'm guessing, because Grand Theft Auto 5, which is made by the same developer as this game, Red Dead Redemption 2, broke all the records. That is the yardstick. It generated so much money that sequels are now inevitable for the rest of time. And Red Dead Redemption is not as big as Grand Theft Auto, but the way that this is shaping out with the current state of the video game industry, which is just constantly growing, this could be the game to shatter all the records. There's a lot of positive feeling about the game across the industry, in the comments section of YouTube, among retailers. Just have a little hunt online. Search for Red Dead Redemption and look at the vibes around this game. It's pure positivity flowing. So this is a major release. And now that DLC, a topic we will get onto actually, I'm going to have a bit of a rant about that. I didn't mention it, but I will. Now that DLC has really taken hold, and despite people bemoaning it, it's never been more fluid and well oiled in the cogs of the video game industry. And what with the developer of Red Dead Redemption 2 already being famous for having good DLC since day one, with big expansions that were very popular, this game is gonna fucking make a boatload of dough. Absolutely. And rightly so, because it looks fucking awesome. It's a game about cowboys. Men love cowboys. We also like ninjas and things like that. My cousin, he thinks he is a cowboy, one of my cousins. Very good looking guy. His name is Thomas Triton. I'm sure you'll watch him. And he thinks he's a cowboy. He walks around basically dressed like a cowboy, even though he's 40 something. He looks about 25 somehow. I don't know. I think I got some of those genes. God bless. And he is well into cowboys. So when I was younger, he educated me a bit on the cowboy vibes. And he always told me John Wayne is a knob and Clint Eastwood was the man. Clint Eastwood was the cowboy to look up to. A man's man, a man of not so many words. He speaks with his gun. And he's hard as nails. Loads of good one-liners. And the movies are very interesting. They're kind of unconventional and meandering movies. I think they're kind of convoluted actually. And they definitely don't follow the typical Hollywood plot structure. So for a young kid watching those movies, they went over my head a bit. But just stylistically, they are the business. And I think a lot of these pioneering early movies, because they're not structured conventionally, there's something about them that really stays in your mind. It's something unusual and unique. And the music for those movies is life-changing. So I can tell you from having a good sense of what makes cowboys appealing and cool, that Red Dead Redemption, the original one at least, really hit all the marks as far as a cowboy game goes. And the people who make the game obviously really understand the philosophy of the cowboy, what it means to be a cowboy and why that appeals to us. So this game is just looking absolutely fucking amazing. Let us take a cheeky look at the game. I'll just keep it rolling while I'm talking because it's so fucking beautiful and I want to get you hyped. Look at that shit. Look at that shit. Look at those graphics. You can tell it's been in development for a while, because a long time, because the character models aren't as good as some games that had a shorter development cycle that started closer to today than this. For example, Zero Dawn Horizon on the PS4 I think has better character models, but it's so beautifully drawn that even though it doesn't look as good as aforementioned PS4 game exclusive, on a basic aesthetic level, on a wow factor level, on a technological level, just mainly on a technological level, purely on an aesthetic level I should say, this knocks everything else out of the park. This blows everything else away. Every scene looks like a beautiful picture that you might hang on your wall. You could take a snapshot from any of this. Of course they're cherry picking the best scenes, but it's absolutely beautiful, almost jaw-dropping I might say. I'm so hyped about this game, and this is probably the reason, I'm guessing, to get the second iterations of the major consoles by PS4 and Microsoft. The PS4 by Sony and Microsoft, the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X respectively. Especially in the case of the Xbox One X, there aren't many games, or there aren't any games at all that make it worth buying. But if this is really taking advantage of the new, more powerful hardware, this could be the reason to buy one of those consoles. So I'm kind of tempted, because this is blatantly running on either the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X. It could be a PC, but I think they're all going to look quite similar actually. And just look at this fucking thing. What a beast of a game this is going to be, without a doubt. You know it's going to be good because it looks, the developers have kept it true to the original insofar as that game has undoubted quality. So as soon as you see this, it looks familiar, and you know that quality is going to run through this game also. Let's just hope that there's enough new shit in it to keep it interesting. I think it's all going to be about the story and the dialogue, and having listened to the trailer, it seems like this is going to have the best dialogue of any game. One interesting thing is that one of the lead developers I think he's called Cameron, no, Leslie or something. No, Cameron Benzies or something. I forget his name. Anyways, one of the lead developers left acrimoniously and sued Rockstar, who's making this game, for 150 mil. It looks like he might not get that dough in the end, but he's going to get some kind of payout. And he was the lead developer of every Grand Theft Auto game from Vice City, which apparently is when the game became really fucking awesome and developed into this ridiculous cash cow. Or I should say cash horse, judging by the video, that it is today. Although apparently I was reading on Reddit, this developer didn't have much of a hand in Red Dead Redemption 2, but that's not really known exactly. The guy was a big cheese at Rockstar, so he blatantly was involved in producing this as well, I guess. So I guess he was also around when this game started development and the core script was probably completed. So if this developer's hand in the game is that important, he's probably still got some fingerprints here. But it's going to be very interesting to see with the next Grand Theft Auto how good that is, and if this guy's departure affects the game. I really hope it doesn't, because this is one of the best games available, series. Fucking wickedness, this. So this game is going to have a lot of DLC, and that's something I kind of want to veer onto, because there are a total of 3 special editions of Red Dead Redemption 2. One comes with a physical map of the game world. That's a trend that Rockstar have been making for a while now with their other games. But the special edition has supplementary story missions, an outfit, another horse, 3 weapons, and a few gameplay boosts and bonuses. Look, I fucking hate DLC, and so do a lot of people, and it's really pissing me off that the developers are just constantly grinding out this DLC and weathering the storm of criticism to the point where the next generation of gamers aren't even going to question it. It's something that they grow up with, and it's gone that way. It's never going back now to pre-DLC. The reason this is so annoying, as if you already didn't know, is that, okay, you're going to give me an extra outfit, a horse, and 3 weapons. That's fucking bullshit. If it's a physical thing, fair enough. But if it's digital, that means you just made the game and then you've locked off a few things and now you're selling it back to us. They can do what they want. It's their fucking game. And they're obviously going to do it in a smart way so it doesn't affect the main game at all. And they're going to make the special items something that is probably quite unique and not outside of the story. But as I said, it doesn't have a bearing on the main story. So they do it that way so you don't get too pissed off and they don't create too much controversy. But really, let's be real, that's fucking bollocks. And also gameplay boosts and bonuses, just making the game easier for you. What a sorry state of affairs the video game industry has become. It's all about having a bit of a challenge, but that's not mass market, is it? People just want some easily spoon-fed shit that they can breeze through. I shouldn't be too hard on Rockstar because they've got the open world for people who want to play casually and just piss around and have an easy experience. And the story mode you can play through, but then they've got a lot of side missions and a lot of depth. It's hard to strike the balance, and they always strike the balance well. But DLC, you should be ashamed, people. You should never fucking buy that shit, ever. Never, ever, ever. Because if you do, they're just going to keep doing it. But I hate it when people say things like this. If you don't like it, don't pay. Everyone else is going to fucking pay. You cunts have ruined it for everyone. There's also a collector's box. It doesn't include the actual game. It's just loads of physical shit. Like themed collectibles, a challenge coin, double-sided puzzle, and things like that. A 6-shooter bandana, treasure map, pin set, cards, and so on. It's kind of what I was on about. But the game's not inside it. What the fuck? That's weird. So that kind of just destroys the whole purpose. That's so fucking weird. That means you have to buy the regular game and that on top of it. Fuck you, Rockstar. That's just bollocks. They should come with the How can you have a collector's box without the fucking game? That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. That's not collector's box. It's just a fucking toy, mate. Then there's an Ultimate Edition. It has 2 more outfits, another fucking horse. 3. Like, who gives a shit what's in it? It's bollocks DLC. It comes in a pretty fancy steel bookcase, which they can show up their asses. DLC, don't buy it. Jesus. On the topic of DLC, Total consumer spending on the games in the US was up 40% in the first half of 2018 to 19.5 billion, according to the NPD group. I don't know what games were released that made that spike, but those are serious fucking numbers. Consumer spending 40%. The industry's already ridiculously big. But apparently most of that surge comes from, some of that percentage is unknown, comes from mobile. And the whole software revenue was 16.9 billion, which is fucking madness in the first half of the year. And mobile games saw the biggest growth, apparently. So I wouldn't read too much into those figures, because those are not games, Candy Crush and all that stuff, not by the in the traditional sense. And if they do become games, then the game industry is dead, because they are throwaway things that don't require a lot of skill. That's a debate for another day, actually. So perhaps DLC is not as popular as I fear in the guys' games, the games that guys buy, who make up the lion's share of the market of the kind of not pro gamers, but serious gamers who get consoles and stuff. Although, speaking of which, people who buy consoles these days are not all that serious anymore. We're seeing more and more casuals bleed through. So the figures you have to take with a pinch of salt. We don't know the exact titles that are making these spikes, and we have to take into consideration that a lot of this data is affected by mobile games, whatever your stance is on them. I'm interested in games like Red Dead Redemption, deep games that have hours and hours of playtime and side quests and things like that. And so I just don't want to see DLC in these fucking games. Full stop. So in light of my DLC rant, it just so happens that physical games are to include a new warning icon on their packaging if they offer in-game purchases. Pan-European Game Information announced that, Peggy. So DLC is like crack to kids. Kids just want shit all the time from their parents. They want sweets, they want this, please mum, please mum. And now DLC is like that. Fucking nightmare for parents. So I'm never going to have kids. Imagine having a little runt like begging you for a video game upgrade. Just fucking go outside, mate. Go outside, you're not getting it. Interestingly, Battlefield 5 has been delayed by EA. It was supposed to come out on October the 19th, which is just days before Red Dead. But EA has wisely delayed the game to avoid being trampled and destroyed by Red Dead and looking bad in comparison. The reason that it's failing is because EA went all SJW and put a woman as the main character, not because she belongs in the story, but because they are left-wing and they let their self-indulgent political beliefs, which they conflate with their very own existence, bleed into the game. EA, massive fail. And then the developers did what the producers of the Ghostbusters reboot did, which is start blaming the fans and try to stoke up a little bit of a flame war online, saying that anyone who dislikes the game is a sexist and want to sell the game that way. It's amazing. Just this happening shows that anyone can get a job getting paid bank doing fucking anything. Because if these idiots are saying and believing shit like that at the top of the tree, you can fucking make it too, dude. Really, you can. They're just destroying their video game sales for their own stupid beliefs, which are so misguided. And they doubled down on it. I looked at interviews on Reddit and shit from the developers of this game, Battlefield 5. And they were saying shit like just insane stuff. If you don't like this idea, don't buy it. I mean, fuck, man. Why would you say that to your fucking loyal fans? And then they were saying shit like, if you disagree with a woman being the lead of this game, you obviously don't know a thing about history. That is straight up saying something wrong and saying it's right because it is. It's weird. It's as if with the information age where we can all see the truth, instead of actually opening people's eyes to this truth, it's made people go into extreme denial. I'm hoping it's a generational thing, and the next generation will just embrace truth. Perhaps it's the old generation who are used to truth being controlled by the media and so on, but the negative possible outcome of this is that with the tools to have truth, people cannot handle the truth. They can't handle the truth, as Jack Nicholson said. And so therefore, they will just outright say the truth is not the truth because it is. And that's becoming a trend, and people will just do that endlessly. You can't stop people coming out with weasel words just for the sake of it. So the evidence to back up what I'm saying is, as I said, the developer said, if you don't like there being a woman as the face of this game, you don't know a thing about history. When history tells us there were no women on the front fucking line. So you've just said, I don't know a thing about history, and that women were in the war. However, they weren't on the front line. But this woman is not only on the front line of your video game, she's on the front of the fucking box, mate. What are you talking about, you weirdos? This weird liberal ideology, this pathogen that they're inhaling over at EA and in California in general, is having a massive effect on profits. Any company that goes SJW, fucking bet against them on the stock market, you're going to make a packet. And EA is the latest victim of that. So let's hope that Battlefield 5 fails so we don't see any more political bullshit in our video games, because when something looks like shit and reeks of shit, it probably is shit. And this marketing strategy and this theme in the game, it stinks, and people don't like being led down the garden path and taken for a fool. Don't insult people's intelligence. People are smarter than you think, really. And so EA, this is stupid. Make a game for your gamers and core audience, which is male. For fuck's sake, men look up to men. Men don't fucking all play with Barbies, although the liberals want to give Barbies to their kids because they think gender's a social construct and they want them to grow up to be whatever they want to be. Nope. Men like rough and tumble. They like war. They like guns. That's a fucking fact. So why don't you just appeal to your target audience instead of insulting them because of your own self-indulgent fucking moral grandstanding, you tossers? Rant over. No more politics for today. So that's the main section of the show over. That was what the fuck is going on? What the hell is going on in the world? So now we can kind of go to my life a little bit. This is my cynical part of the show. So first off, I want to read the guide for this show. I wrote this down. Am I sticking to the guide? I'm really trying to, because of course you're your own worst critic, and after every show I usually watch it back and there's always things I want to improve. And here's the thing I wrote before anything else, before even I get to the content of the show. This is the mantra I try to drill into my brain, and that is, the first points when I introduce the show have to be, this is capitals, distinct and well thought out and delivered promptly and charmingly. That's surprisingly the hardest part. I never get it right off the bat. Next point, never go random. Always stay on topic of exactly what you've planned. That's one of the hardest things for the ADD. In capitals, don't do headlines on anything you haven't read properly or don't know about. Capitals. You need stuff to say. That bit is arbitrary. Don't say like. I did say like a few times. When I say like, I try to stylize it and make it satirical and say like, because people who say like a lot are pretty dumb, let's be honest, which is about 99% of the world. That's not true. Even some really smart people I notice can't help but say like, but I think they stop themselves from doing it. Is saying like just become part of everyday lexicon because it's such a useless word. It's padding, isn't it? And it's a habit. And it's useless. Talk is, every word is valuable. Every word has value. Why not have beautiful, accurate, precise simplicity? Why pad it out with the word like? Do I say like too much? Does it even matter? Next one. Don't be arrogant. Like, and I'm not saying the person who I think is arrogant. When you see arrogant people and they're all like, oh, like that, it's the biggest fucking turn off. It really is. Unless you're Conor McGregor and you kick people in the teeth, then being arrogant is okay. Last one, be relaxed, like after a heavy workout. We're getting kind of philosophical now. After a heavy workout, I'm so chill. It's just so easy for me to do these shows, man. It's much easier. So, I don't know. I'm pretty fucking relaxed because I'm really tired. Sometimes when people are tired, it makes them a bit anxious. But with me, when I get really tired, I just feel in a pretty good space, quite chill. So have I hit those points? Let me know in the comments below, to use a cliche, and just give me some advice. You know, I'm still finding the best way. My neon sign should be here within the month. It's going to go there. It's going to say the Johnny Massacre show. So by the time that shit goes up, people look at this and it looks serious, I've got to have the format on lock. More stuff about my life. So I DJ'd on top of the very famous, iconic 109 building in Japan yesterday. That's why I'm so tired. I'm one of the promoters and almost like a host for the event. So after my DJ set, I stayed on well after hours, and that's why I kind of lost my voice. I think I slept for about 4 hours before that, just getting ready and stuff, and then I woke up and I got my set locked down, a few final tweaks. You can listen to that shit there. Please check it out. It's a fucking wicked set. I start with this awesome fucking tune. And then when I got my set sorted out in the morning, I went for a 2-hour run in the blazing Tokyo sun. And then I went out and did my thing. And I didn't eat until I got back at about 11. Started at 1 p.m. And I eat 1 meal a day. It's my diet. So it was brutal. I'm kind of knackered today. It's taken it out of me. I've already taken 2 days off this week, and I never usually take 2 days off, usually only 1 day from the gym. So I can't take a third day off today, but it's kind of taken its toll. I should just do a little smooth exercise thing, but I kind of want to go to the gym and destroy myself. Anyways, so that's why I'm a bit knackered today, and it was so much fun. The set, I had these 2 monitor speakers sandwiching my head, and when I turn down the monitor, all you can hear is this like bass from the speakers the PA speakers pointing away from you, pointing at the crowd. But I was just blasting the monitors, bleeding my ears, because I love bass, I love sound, I love chunky, big sound that smashes you up and down. So I turned the monitors up to ear bleeding levels and sandwiched my face with bass. It was fucking beautiful. I was well into it. So check out that mix, because it's fucking sexy. That was a lot of fun, and our next event is coming soon, but that's a little under wraps. This is going to be fucking wicked, and this fucking thing on the wall behind me might be involved somehow. All will be revealed. What else is going on in my life? I made this curry, and fuck me, it was nice. I can't cook for shit. I'm a music man. I spent all my time making the musics. So my cooking is terrible, and I'm a bit of a mummy's boy. I'm not afraid to admit it, you know, raised by my mum, and she was always cooking me food, doing everything for me. A German mum just feeds the living fuck out of their kids. That's what European mums do. I reckon it comes from the war, because a lot of the food that Germans eat is blatantly war food. You cannot tell me sauerkraut has been around before the war. That reeks of war food, to use a appropriate term. So I think that mentality of just like, we got to eat fucking everything, mate, feed your kids, comes from rationing in the war. And so I blame my mum for not being able to cook. That's such a cuntish thing to say. I blame my mum for looking after me and feeding me. But seriously, I'm going to starve the fuck out of my kids when I have kids one day. I'm not going to have kids. Because otherwise, they're going to grow up like me to be terrible cooks. You've got to let them play around in the kitchen. My mum was always like, get the fuck out. That was her territory. She still is like that, because she takes pride in it. And that's her thing. She didn't want to destroy that connection with her son, right? It's her way of kind of controlling me a little bit. Guaranteed you're going to see your son if you cook. And so I can't really cook. But so for me, making a curry that tastes good is a seismic event. And I think I just watched a bunch of videos on YouTube. There was one called Keto Connect. And I'm going to fucking smash them up right now. I'm actually going to go on fucking YouTube and show you this video, because you know when people just annoy you and shit and you cuss them and they're always on TV, right? Like someone on TV, a presenter, So many people sitting on the sofa will just say something along the lines of, oh, fuck that guy, he's a wanker, or fuck that girl. That's really stupid. That negative attitude just betrays your own unhappiness. And I guess I must be unhappy because I did the same thing with this keto fucking blog. It really, really annoyed me. Keto Curry. This one. She starts off and says, hey guys, I got a real fucking bugbear about that shit. Everyone starts their video the same way. At least be unique, motherfucker. Even if you're gonna parrot someone, try to switch it up a little bit. At least plagiarize that shit. Hey guys, hey, did you just assume my gender, bitch? I try to give you a bit of sound as well.
I'm Indian. Hey guys.
Oh man, it's like a dagger in the soul. And there's something really weird about this woman because something is kind of attractive about her. It's the piercing eyes. The eyes tell us everything about the person. They betray our emotions, our feelings, our desires. We're always looking, searching for something. And animals, when they look at each other, haven't you heard what you should do when you confront a wild animal? If you look at it in the eye, like a bear or something, I think that means you either want to fight it, you want to make love to it, reproduce with it. Making love with a bear, that would be rather painful, or something else bad. So it's all in the eyes. So the way that this woman looks at the camera with her eyes, there's something weirdly attractive about it, but she's also kind of balding at the temples. And for someone who does keto, she looks a bit fat. That is not a real keto face. And this blog pisses me off because I know about this shit. I've researched it across multiple media formats. And people who are serious about not eating carbs, they don't try to replace it with shit. Oh, you can use this fake sweetener. No, you just have to stop eating the sweetener forever. You have to stop eating sweet stuff because otherwise the addiction is always there. You can't give a smoker a little bit of this and hope they'll quit. They'll always fucking keep the habit unless you just give it up. So you have to just find something else, not an alternative. And this channel's always putting fake sweeteners in. Also, fake sweeteners can spike your insulin just from the chemical reaction in the brain because it associates sweetness with needing to generate insulin for your body. So it's kind of bullshit, this. Oh God, it's annoying. God, it's fucking, it irritates me. So, but she did teach me a little bit how to make this curry and looking at other videos and techniques as well. This is how it works, yeah? Trust me on this. To all the bachelors out there who need some help making something tasty. You got to start with frying onions and garlic. If you don't do that, it's not going to work. So fry up a shitload of onions and garlic. You ever fucking touched onions or like touched the open garlic clove? You cannot get that shit off your hands. That means the flavor is like erotic. It's disgustingly intense. Put that in the frying pan with whatever, a lot of butter in this case. Fry that shit up and that is your base. Then, this is what all people do. You got the meat, cover that in the spice first. Make your fucking spice mix. Cover that in the spice mix first. Throw that shit into the pan. Fucking cook that shit up. And then you add like tomato paste and cream or whatever cream you want and you fucking boil it and let it all stew and stuff covered. And as it reduces and the water goes away, you get this rich curry. I made one. I cannot believe I made that curry. It was fucking sexy as hell. I don't have a name for it. But how about Curry Massacre? Shall I do a Curry Massacre? Shall I put a cooking program? I generally think you have to know about cooking to make a cooking program. You can't get away with it like people in the music industry do, where bedroom producers make some shitty song and everyone loves it. I think you've got to have some quality already there, really. Because I've seen random people make a cooking video and it's the most cringeworthy thing. I've seen it. I'm not going to blow this person up, but I've seen people do it who are not cooks and it's just awful. It makes you not want to unfollow that person from whatever social media you're following them on. So I made a good curry. I was well proud of myself. I made one for my girlfriend. She's a vegetarian. It blew her mind. She said, it tastes like meat. It tastes like meat. So that was cool. Giving a vegetarian the meat taste. Because really you associate curry with meat, the spices. So that's why she thought it tasted of meat. Curry Massacre. I'm going to do some kind of game video. What game video do you want to see me do? Do you want to see me do a live playthrough? Do you want to see me do a historical thing, talking more deeply about games, maybe something that's pre-written? Do you want to see me review a game, and how do you want to see me review it? Monologue style, or should I cut up loads of footage, or should I review it and then have a bit of footage of me actually playing the game spliced with that? How would you like to see me review it? Would you like to see me review it shirtless? What do you want to see? Because I want to do some gaming shit. I want to get into it a bit more now that I've spent half the show talking about games. Rewind, going back to games, I didn't talk about Cyberpunk. Let's just look at this shit. Let's bring this up. Sorry, I forgot to talk about this. Cyberpunk. Now, the last video of this came out 5 fucking years ago. So it's one of those games that's been in development hell. But unlike games that are in development hell, this one's actually turning out amazing. I don't know how they've had it in development for so long and it looks so good, the character models and so on. I guess it means that it's been in the development cycle almost like Red Dead Redemption. They've just been beavering away solidly on it, and it's not necessarily delayed because there's serious problems. It's just they're taking their time with it. If that's the case, it could be awesome. Let's fucking run the clip. Now, if you're into sci-fi, this is porno. It takes the tropes of all the sci-fi movies that you love, which are ingrained now, and they're not a bad thing. It's just become the building blocks of the genre, and it's kind of mashed it all into one game, which is how you'd want it. It takes influence from Blade Runner, which is that movie, my favorite movie of all time, and it takes some from the elements from The Fifth Element, and just other sci-fi movies. I can't think of any, but you can just see it's all in here. It's all the mishmash of sci-fi influences in one. You know this game's going to be good because the developers aren't liberal. I'm not saying liberals can't make a good game, but in the case of Battlefield, we've seen that they're so emotive and they're so just brainwashed by all the liberal ideology at the moment. They're fucking playing their roles really well. They're doing their bit. They're promoting the left-wing, far left, twisted ideology and sticking it in all their games. The NFL are sticking it in their games. The media are sticking it in their papers. They just stick it everywhere where it shouldn't be stuck. And this game doesn't do that, because they did a tweet where someone said we need more guys in here, and they didn't actually mean men. They just meant more people, because the developer was doing some kind of live stream where they're playing the game, and then the developer saw that comment and then they commented back. I think they tweeted, "Did you just assume my gender?" Which is really funny. It's a fucking joke. And then everyone went mad and they backtracked, and they have to, because look how big budget this game is. You can't double down on anything that isn't liberal, because right now it's trendy. The Twitter mob fucking loves it. It's all part of their shtick, the lefties. So that means the game's not going to be tarnished. You don't have to worry about it doing an EA or doing a Ghostbusters, which is a good start in this day and age. And you can see I'm really excited just looking at the game. I like the way he's in his apartment. He's been banging his bird. That's somewhere we've all been, right? You wake up, you feel a bit fucked up, and then you go outside like an ape foraging for food. And you might remember to bring your bitch something back. So look at it. It's made by, I think it's called CD Projekt or something. CD Red Project. Really weird name for a developer. They made The Witcher, which is an RPG. I never played it because that was during my gaming hiatus. But that game came out after Oblivion. Not Oblivion. Is it Oblivion? The game by the fucking... No, it's not. Skyrim. Sorry, yeah, it came out by... This came out after Skyrim. And a lot of people compared... So this didn't come out after Skyrim, but a game called The Witcher by the same developer, their last AAA title, I'm guessing, came out just after Skyrim. And Skyrim was one of the highest rated, most anticipated and successful RPGs ever made. And this game, in the face of Skyrim, got really good reviews, and people favourably compared it to Skyrim, I remember reading. And so the developer's obviously quite good. My mother is a gamer. She played the shit out of The Witcher 3. So that's probably a good sign. If my mum likes it, it's going to be good, I think, because my mum's got great taste. So that bodes well for this title. Because I haven't played The Witcher 3, I'm not quite sure how it's going to play, but here's what concerns me. It's it's typical of gaming. You see all these impressive tech demos, or they'll run the engine where it looks the best and use angles that aren't in the game, so it looks so pretty. I swear it's bullshit. I swear they make it more high res. And then when they show the gameplay footage, it kind of just looks a bit more regular. This almost looks like the next generation of gaming, but it's still not quite there. And it's felt like that since the Xbox 360 for so long. You know, the graphical leaps used to be so high back in the day. You went from 2D to fucking 3D, you know, with the Genesis to the PlayStation and stuff. But now it feels like the progression of graphics are a bit slower, and it disappoints me. So with this game, you're going to see some cinematic shots which just look fucking next level. But then when you're actually walking around, does this look that amazing? It does look pretty fucking good, I have to say. And I really hope this is running on PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X. I hope this is not PC Master Race, because I want to experience this when I buy one or both of those consoles. Probably just one at the moment. Here's where the cinematic shit's coming out. This is, look at that. That is kind of jaw-dropping. But the name of the game appears in the middle of the screen, so it's kind of, it might just be limited to that one little bit. I hope it's not. And then when you're walking around, maybe it looks a little less impressive. Anyway, generally it's really impressive, and I'm so into this look. Hopefully, because it's not a diluted mishmash, it's not going to feel diluted to play. Hopefully the game mechanics are solid and the dialogue's solid, and they get the right balance between tongue-in-cheek and intense, because this looks like it's going to be quite intense, and it's certainly going to be tongue-in-cheek. This doesn't have a release date, and because it's been in development for 5 years, no one knows, but all of a sudden it's appeared online. It's got really high virality, loads of positive comments and loads of good feedback. And so this is something I'm looking forward to playing. I really am. That is called Cyberpunk, so I forgot to squeeze that in earlier. So let's now go back to what the fuck is going on in my life. I think there is one more thing, which is lightning storm. So I went around my mate Nick's house, who's also a promoter, very cool guy living out in Japan, and it was thunderstorming like a motherfucker. And he lives in a high rise. He lives on the 27th floor, I believe. If you're watching, Nick, hello. And I've never seen a thunderstorm from the perspective of a city view. Fuck me. If you haven't seen that, it's one of the things you have to do in your life. It is fucking amazing, the atmosphere. It's dark and it's cold. And in this case, it's humid, because I believe the hot weather can create these thunderstorms. And so you see them just happening fucking everywhere in the distance, dotted all over the city. I never realized in a thunderstorm how many strikes of lightning there are. And if you're out there, lightning never strikes the same place twice, right? So you might get one kind of close, but that's about it. But they're fucking all over the place, and shit's getting hit all the time. Probably a few motherfuckers got struck by that lightning. It really fires up the imagination. It's part of the unknown. It's out there. You can kind of see it, but you don't know exactly where it's hitting and what's happening at ground level. For people with an imagination, you just fill in the blanks. It's really exciting. Of course, it's so dramatic. We've all seen it in movies. It already was dramatic back in the days before movies or whenever. Lightning's been around since the Big Bang, right? So the fact we also in movies associate it, it's already dramatic, and then we further associate it with drama because it's in movies. Lightning strikes when it's going to be some foreboding news. It means that now when lightning strikes, it's already dramatic. It's more dramatic in movies, and that association, those two things together, just mean it's ultra dramatic when you're in its face and experiencing it right there. And we were talking about shit, we're philosophizing a bit while the lightning and the thunder is going. It's getting closer and closer. I think it hit the building next to us. It's not going to hit you because you're kind of in the veranda, but it's still a little bit scary and just fun. So that was fucking cool. And I'm going to see my mate next week again, probably watch some weird Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And he said, let's hope it thunders. And let's hope it does, because thunder on the shitty Apple weather, which always lies, is forecasted pretty much every fucking day. So I'm praying for thunder next week because I want to get in amongst it. Okay, so something I'm loving right now, we're going on to this section of the show. I haven't written anything down there so I kind of have to think of something off the top of my head. Last time I think I was talking about paprika. I've developed this fetish for paprika. I've already told you about my love for curry. What am I loving right now? Oh, I also said I'm loving life last time. So I am loving my futon. In Japan, the traditional bed is the futon. They say futon. We say futon. I think futon also means sofa in American English. So don't get a futon confused with a sofa. Yes, it does. So if I switch over to my browser right now, you should be able to see a futon. If you just give me a second, please. So we got Red Dead here. Let's look for futon. This is what Americans think a futon is, and probably English people too. But this is what a Japanese futon is. These fucking shitty covers. I don't know what you guys think. I think some people who are quite adventurous and like traveling probably think that looks weirdly inviting. Not that. That's a fucking, yeah. Something like this. They're ridiculously thin. The whole point is you're supposed to feel the fucking floor. And I can't be bothered to give you the story of why I have this futon, but I have this ridiculously good futon, and it's by Tempur. Tempur make orthopedic. Is that how you pronounce it? It's good for your back or body. Orthopedic beds. And this is, I think it's Japan only, or designed definitely for the Japanese market. It costs about $500 or more. And it's in these blocks. It looks like blocks of chocolate, I always thought. And it's quite thin. You do feel the floor with it. But fuck me, there's something awesome about this design. Tempur market themselves as making bedding for NASA space astronauts. I think they're commissioned by NASA, which is a pretty fucking good selling point. Zero gravity and all that. And so you can bet your ass they're putting wicked technology into these futons. I just love this thing. The first couple of days was weird, but after that, I really look forward to going to sleep on it. It kind of feels novelty, but yeah, it's really good for your back. You're just straight on the floor. You sink into it because it's kind of memory foam. So I've got to be honest, that is something that I'm super fucking loving right now. It's the Tempur futon. So Q&A, the mailbox. I'm going to answer some questions from the mailbox. This mailbox is going to be from the patrons. So right now you're going to, if you're watching on YouTube, you can't see my beautiful face anymore. Only Patreon subscribers can. So please subscribe to my Patreon. Come on, only $5. You can get the rest of this show and you support me, which means I can give you more shows. I'm telling you, when someone supports me or gives me a tip or sponsors me, suddenly I just crank out more videos. It motivates the fuck out of me. So I kind of realize sometimes you really need to push it. I don't want any money from you. I'm an artist, I just want to make music, man. But really, I've learned that you've got to fucking sell your talents, and you just got to ask people. So if you do love what I do, and if you do have the money, can you please right now go to Patreon and subscribe? Even just $5, you get the rest of this show, and you're going to get a shitload more videos. If someone subscribes after watching this, I promise I will make a Johnny Massacre show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week. You'll have 5 Johnny Massacre shows. There's only been 10 so far, so you're going to get fucking... I don't do maths, I'm shit at maths, but that's a lot of fucking Johnny Massacre shows considering there's only 10 so far, and you're going to get fucking half of that all in one whack. And who knows after that. So, I'm going to do this mailbox from a patron Q&A for this time only. In the future, it's just going to be a regular mailbox, and the patron Q&A will be separate for my patrons only. So for now, we're going to fade to black, unless you're a patron, in which case you're going to see everything. And I'm going to answer A question from Kyle Basham, my most loyal friend from Patreon. Here we go. He says, what other jobs have you done before you got into music? Right, now, there's a lot. I think my first ever job, I'm sure there's one random one, a weird little thing that I can't remember, but my first ever job that I can remember is 7-Eleven. No, it was TGI Fridays. I was a busboy. That was one of the worst jobs ever. I was really young, and it's easy to take advantage of a young kid. I'm not playing the victim, but I was a fool. I went in there, and with hindsight, if someone acted like that to me now, I wouldn't stand for it. But they promise the world, right, when they hire you, yeah, and then they give you ridiculous hours, and then when you question it, oh, we never agreed to that. And I went in there with the best intentions. I said, the best policy is honesty. I'll be honest with you, you be honest with me. That's the only way it's going to work out. I can't work on weekends. They put me on weekends. It was mad. I couldn't get out of there, man. I had to get back for fucking school, right? And they won't let me go home to the point where I'd miss my last fucking train. And I was doing so much shit. I was like, can I go home now? And then they said, oh, you have to clean the coffee machine. You have to get your hand in there and dig out all this congealed coffee. That took about 45, 50 minutes. You're like a fucking slave in that shit. Jesus Christ. A willing slave, of course. And the next one was probably 7-Eleven. I don't know if I can say how much I robbed from 7-Eleven, but it probably totaled in the tens of thousands of pounds. Yeah, they were a shitty company. They treat their staff like shit. I can't go into the details. Nah, I'm just joking. I didn't steal anything. I'd never do that. Just joking. Then I also worked in an alcohol store called Threshers. They went bankrupt in the end. We had the highest phone bill in the country for Threshers because all I used to do was just chat to birds, girls on the phone all day. Used to go in there with the best intentions of not to drink, and I'd be sitting on a massive pallet of beer calling my name, and I'd just get smashed every day, just drink, just because it was so boring. Used to crack open the champers and shit. That was fucking jokes. I worked there with my mate Andre. He was always fucking late, the cunt. Andre, I love you though. So there was that alcohol shop, you call it a liquor store, you Yankees, and what else there? Blockbuster Video. When there was video stores, I worked there. I got fired. I got fired from all of these jobs, by the way. Literally got fired from all of them, apart from Threshers. Blockbuster Video got fired for stealing too much Häagen-Dazs and coming in off my face on ecstasy after raving and not sleeping. I worked in a music production store. That was dumb. Just finished university. That's like studying fashion at university and then going to work in a fucking Walmart clothes section. Just by association, you think it's going to be good? Hell no. That was full of cunts. That was full of massive cunts. A company called Turnkey is dead now. I'm not surprised. It was bullshit. It was in central London. Working in central London, travelling from the suburbs, that was fucking annoying. And I remember eating baked potatoes and shit loaded with carbs and getting a little belly. That was madness. And I also, one time I went raving and went there afterwards. And fuck me, I'll never forget that day. That was brutal. So there was that, and I worked as a journalist, a drum and bass journalist, interviewing people, traveling around the world, going to different raves and events. I remember going to Ibiza and shit like that, covering it, but I can't cover that shit. I got to be in that shit, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much everything. I did a little stint in advertising, working on brands like Georgia Coffee, Shiseido, Coca-Cola, because of my copywriting skills. But yeah, they didn't want me to work there because I spent the whole time uploading music software at the desk. And now I'm in my home making music. It's all fucking good. I don't have to do that shit. So those are some of the jobs that I did before getting into music and so on. So that's it for today's Johnny Massacre show. This was quite an extended one. We've gone over 1 hour. My brain took a while to kick into gear. You can see I was a bit slow and retarded at the beginning, but I think talking about shit I love really clicked me into gear. When I watch it back, I'm sure I'll pinpoint that, but Cyberpunk really got me flowing. That game looks really fucking awesome. So make sure you tune in for the next one, yeah? And smash the like button, smash that shit. Tell your fucking, can you share this with your friends? Because I'm sure they're going to like it too. You know you want more of this. I'm sick of all those cunts on YouTube. Hey guys, I've been doing this and I've been doing that and blah, 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 blah. And then finally they get to the main point and then they start the video and it's just so fucking annoying. Less of that, more of me. Share this with your mates. Like and subscribe like those other tossers say. I've got to say it too. It's become part of the furniture. And I will see you on the next one.